And now let's jump into Fluke for real.
Let's do it. Yeah, listen, here, we got some people to talk about, some good performances, some bad performances. We're going to break it down, let you know, is this a sign of things to come, or is this something you need to be worried about going forward? So, first guy here, we love him. Both had him inside our top 10. And I will just, dude, let me say, man, Jayden Daniels balled out. 21 for 23 in his first primetime appearance. 3 total touchdowns, 254 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in the air, 12 carries for 39 yards and a rushing touchdown, 32 fantasy points. An absolute monster. Now, I love seeing it, and we know this is the ceiling. Actually, no, I'm going to say this is I wasn't going to say this was a fluke, but I'll say confidently this is for real. Like, we can expect more games like this from him. Like, that's you got to go. Yeah. I was about to say, well, it was the Bengals and their defense isn't very good, but they held Mahomes to 16 fantasy points, and that isn't what you want. And so Jayden Daniels is a rock star. He's got some great talent around him. Cliff Kingsbury might be better as an offensive coordinator than he was a head coach with Kyler Murray. But we saw it in Kyler's rookie year. We knew that this was a sign of things to come for Jayden Daniels. And so this is for real. Yeah. Terry McLaurin, 20 fantasy points. You hope they got a connection kind of kickstarted there so that Terry can continue to be very good as well. But ultimately, I'm just a little worried for the skill players that it might just be, who's it going to be? We don't really know. But
yeah. And a lot of fourth down conversions from Jayden Daniels in clutch situations too. I mean,
highest completion on the road percentage of any rookie ever. What a guy!
Guy's awesome,
dude. That
guy's awesome.
That bomb to Terry McLaurin, the 60, not the touchdown, but the one in the first half. That's 60. Or it might have been in the third.
Oh, yes.
But 60-yarder. It was just a rainbow. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what we saw in college. It's happening. So it was good to see.
Awesome, man.
It was good to see the playbook open up a little bit. Anyway, so Jayden Daniels, this is for real. Derrick Henry, 30 fantasy points, a vintage Derrick Henry performance, 25 carries for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. 1 measly catch for 23 yards, so an extra 3 points there for you in PPR. Listen, we know he's capable, and if this wasn't the Cowboys, I'd probably be like, I don't know, but maybe they're just going to start figuring stuff out with this run game, and they realize, hey, we're good at running the football. So let's just run the football. Yeah. Maybe that's something we're talking about. But it wouldn't surprise me if we get to the end of the year and it was like, man, that was such a great, best performance of his season in week 3 against the Cowboys. 30 points.
Sure.
It wouldn't surprise me if we get there. But a little pissed off at John Harbaugh for being like, we didn't bring him here to get 30 carries. And then they give him nearly 30 opportunities. And it was like, all right, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely becoming part of the offense a lot more than a lot of other Ravens skill players suspected. And for good reason. I mean, him and Jackson are both rushing excellently. So what's nice to know is that it's not one or the other will do great. Henry's going to have a great game. Lamar also had almost 30 points too. So this is the best of both worlds for Jackson and Henry owners.
Absolutely.
This is for real.
Yeah, this is for real. Chuba Hubbard, another one that I was one that I didn't even really say it on the last episode because I didn't realize that he would be so available in some leagues. But another guy that I spent fab on, I rolled out 2 Carolina Panthers skill players.
You did
in week 3 with Andy Dalton, first game as the quarterback, and I put him in my lineup and I covered my eyes and I just didn't. I didn't check fantasy for the entire 1 o'clock slate. And I know they played in the later.
Oh my
slate.
Goodness!
I didn't check it for the whole 1 o'clock slate because I was just so nervous to get to the Panthers game to see what was going to happen.
That's hilarious.
And Chuba Hubbard, 27.9 fantasy points, 26 opportunities, was the absolute workhorse. Miles Sanders even sharked him on a touchdown, which was so annoying. But what it told me is that was when it was garbage time, and that's when Miles Sanders' production is in garbage time. Why? Because he's clearly the number 2. He's the backup.
Oh, yeah.
So 28 fantasy points for Chuba Hubbard. That's probably not the norm, but the involvement and the usage, 5 targets, a receiving touchdown, love it. And I don't think it's going to be Jonathan Brooks is available, Chuba Hubbard, you're out. It'll be a slow transition, I think. But until Brooks is back for sure, Hubbard is an easy high-end flex play, maybe an RB2 on the back end. So this is for real.
I was going to talk about that as well, that when Brooks is back, I don't think Hubbard just goes to the bench because he's been on the team for several years and he took the job after McCaffrey left. Donta Foreman had a couple of nice games, but Hubbard was the guy that they went with, and then last year and then this year too. So he has proven himself to this organization that he is a dependable player. I love it. So for all intents and purposes, this is for real. Yeah, and I think you can roll him out next week. If you're hurting at the running back position, you got Hubbard, go for it. This is for real.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. Rome Odunze, another guy we're going to talk about here. Rookie, gets his first receiving touchdown. This is fun to see. It was good to see, even though they lost the game, Caleb and Rome getting that connection going. I think he's becoming more relevant a lot earlier than we thought due to this Keenan Allen injury and the fact that this team just kind of sucks, so they kind of have to force feed the ball to their best players. And he's one of them. 23.4 fantasy points, 6 catches, 11 targets, 112 yards, and a touchdown. He played all but one offensive snap. He was out there for every offensive snap but one. He is involved and he's out and he's out there. I don't know if this is for real as far as like a 20-plus point game, just because rookie quarterback, bad offense. Not sure how that's going to pan out, but he's not going to be in the waiver wire segment. But if he's out there on your waivers, you should pick him up. Like this is good, a sign of good things to come. Maybe it's just in a career sense, more or less. But I don't know if 23 points is definitely for real. So I'll say fluke until you do it again.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I understand that this is tantalizing, but I'm going to call this a fluke, and I need to see another 15-plus performance before I'm willing to put out Odunze to my lineup.
Yeah. Cool beans. DeAndre Hopkins, bit of a vintage performance here. 6 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. Good to see that. 7 targets. Unfortunately, it's a fluke because their quarterback is a toddler. So I don't really know. I don't. If it's a fluke, it's a bummer, and it's just going to be a toss up, and it's going to be impossible to predict when these kind of games happen. So I'm going to call fluke on that one.
I agree. Sell high if you have him, maybe, but it's a rough go. And I mean, the Titans' offense just all around is. I mean, I was actually talking to someone at work. She went up to me and she was like, "Hey, unbiased, I just don't know what's going on in the NFL. Who's the best team?" And I was like, "Well, the best teams from last year are the Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, and 49ers. They were, the ones playing for the Super Bowl." And she's like, "Who's the worst team?" And I was like, I mean, like 3 days ago, I would have said the Panthers, but right now, I don't know, maybe the Titans. And she was like, "Is that true?" And I was like, "I don't know. The Titans may be the worst team right now." So this is partly why this is a fluke. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, Amari Cooper. Welcome back to the land of production.
Hey,
that's awesome. We kept on seeing the targets. We kept seeing the targets, and you just wouldn't catch footballs. And then you were like, "Oh, I remember how to catch a football." And then you came out and
hands.
You did great. Yeah, so it's a quick start. I mean, Brown's first play of offense, they forced a fumble on the Giants' kickoff return. And they got the ball at like the 30-yard line, and first play, strike down the sideline to Amari Cooper for a touchdown. And it was like, thank goodness. Like we got what we hoped we were getting when we drafted him. But ends with 27.6 fantasy points on 12 targets for those 7 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come. I'm going to say for real, because we've seen it through his career, that these are the kind of performances he can turn out. However, Deshaun Watson, please continue to not suck at football. Because it was nice. You were doing good this week. I know. It's a tough ask.
What are you doing? Come on, be realistic here.
Dude, come on. Dude. What's he making? Like $240 million? Like what? I mean, maybe do your job for that amount of money. But
don't get me started.
I want to definitely see some repetition here. But the target share is great, and it's good to see the production off of it. So I'm encouraged by the performance.
It's all the targets. I mean, the targets was why I never wavered with Cooper. It was a bummer to see him have low outputs, but he just kept getting a stupid amount of targets. So this makes sense to me, for real.
Absolutely. Diontae Johnson and Wes, take it away. I mean, we kind of touched on it already, but it's just an extension of victory lap.
God, so excited. I shook my earbuds out of my ear holes, dude. Oh, man. 14 targets, Diontae Johnson, and especially with Adam Thielen out. This is for real. Especially because I do not see Bryce Young under center again this season. I mean, let's just be honest. I've been hearing other media pundits kind of, what's up?
It was hilarious that Canales had to clarify that he was asked, like, hey, just Dalton going to start next week. Can you imagine? He was like, nah, and you Bryce a shot.
Oh my gosh. 3 touchdowns in one half. And he's like,
drop 36 points. No, go ahead. No. We're going to bring back the kid.
Well, this is the point, is that even if they lost, what Dalton was able to do in the life he breathed into that offense, how could you ever turn back to Bryce Young? I feel so bad for the kid, but like, what happens even if Dalton did terrible? Then it was like, well, clearly the whole team is awful, and then now no one's going to do well. So this is Andy Dalton's season now. He's a Carolina Panthers starting quarterback for the rest of 2024. Unless something crazy happens. And so for that reason, you can confidently start Diontae Johnson until further notice. This is absolutely for real.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be honest. When I'm watching this offense on Sunday, I had begun to be a little bit worried about my Jonathan Brooks claim. And drafting him and being a fan of him and what he will do. And then watching this offense with Andy Dalton, I was like, oh, okay, no, we're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine with Jonathan Brooks whenever he rolls back in. So we'll be good there. Last one here in the good section, Dallas Goedert. Oh, boy, 27 fantasy points. That's right. 27 fantasy points from a tight end. Remember that happened in week 1? That was fun. 10 catches on 11 targets for 170 yards and the slowest run down a sideline I've ever seen.
They're all slow. Like, dude, tight ends are so slow.
Do you want to turn on the burners a little bit? Like, this is you could get the end zone here, but he misses the touchdown. Could have been a bigger week for you. But unfortunately, to say from the on behalf of some other key fantasy players, this is going to be for real at least next week. I do not expect Devontae Smith to be back in clear concussion protocol by their next game, unfortunately. So it's going to be Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley, and that's kind of going to be it for the skill players as far as the Eagles go. And then A.J. Brown, maybe he returns, but he was reporting saying he would miss a couple weeks. So we don't really know.
I don't think he'll return.
If either or both of those wide receivers are out, Goddard is a smash play next week. Absolutely. So that's for real for the opportunity's sake, I think. But he's a tight end, so he might, I don't know, he might Hunter Henry it and score 3 points. You never know.
I don't know, 27 points without a single touchdown.
That's nice.
Come on,
yeah,
dude. That is
targets.
Macho man. That is incredible.
It's beautiful. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's get depressed because. So it's fun to do that whenever you think about fantasy football. Extension of Victory Lap, wasn't even a part of Victory Lap here, but Anthony Richardson sucks ass. We talked about it last. Dude, sucks ass. It's insane. Like
he sucks so much ass,
dude. He is the fattest ass sucker in the league, bro. It's crazy. 5 fantasy points. Five fantasy points, 10 for 20, completed 50. I cannot. I was watching this game and I saw someone tweet it out going, either Caleb Williams or Anthony Richardson is going to win this football game. One of those two players is going to win a football game today. Like it's just, and I just wanted it to end in a tie to just spite both of them. But I mean, I'll credit where credit's due. Williams had a pretty good game, but at least for fantasy,
a lot of yards.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, where's this rushing upside floor that we talked about? It's 2 weeks in a row now. It's 2 weeks in a row now. He scored less than 12 fantasy points in week 2, 5 fantasy points in week 3. It's like he wants to turn the ball over. Truthfully.
Oh my gosh.
I think they need to have a refresher with him on what the goal of the game is. Because I think he thinks it's throwing shitty passes that turn into interceptions.
The guy with the Colts helmet, you throw to that guy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Throw to the guy with the Colts
helmet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like
if this is a sign of things to come, if this is a sign of things to come, congratulations, Jonathan Taylor owners. Because I think Shane Steichen was just watching the ball be in Anthony Richardson's hands this weekend and was like, son of a bitch, dude, we got to get the ball out of that guy's hands. Yeah. Like, this is not good. But it's what we said. He's essentially a rookie. We all got really hyped up on this really small sample size. We knew passing wasn't his strong suit, but the rushing upside is just evaporated over the past 2 weeks. And going forward, I don't think he's just like a Tyler Lockett type of quarterback play, like where it's like, well, he might be great, but he might suck. So, you just play him and you roll with the punches. Like, I think there are players that are better out there that you could play. Like, we're going to talk about Darnold here in the waiver wire segment. Yeah, I can't, unless we see some repetition going here, I'm not starting a Colts player in fantasy besides Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, this is for real. This is for real.
Downs came back. Wide receiver room grew. Between Pittman, Pierce, Downs, and Adonai Mitchell, it's like no one even hit more than 5 or 4 targets. Like no one hit like 10 fantasy points.
It's bad.
It's hard when your quarterback completes 10 passes in a game. Bears defense is good. Anthony Richardson is a bigger ass sucker than they are good, dude. That is so disappointing.
Truth.
Man. Yeah. Rachaad White. Hashtag Rachaad White owner sad noises. 8.5 fantasy points. I'm going to talk about Bucky Irving in the waiver wire, so I don't want to give away too much right now, but this is a little concerning. 2 tough defensive matchups, don't get me wrong. So I get it, but he had 1 receiving yard in week 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you love the 5 catches for 18 yards, but when that only amounts to 6.8 fantasy points in your receiving work, that's not great. That's not what we signed up for with Rachaad White.
No.
And he does not look good running the football. We talked about it. The PPR upside is it. That is the key for him. And he'll have it. You like the 6 targets to a running back, but it's guys, we got to turn this into a little more here. I'm not going to say this is for real, but it's teetering towards it. My panic meter is rising a good bit on Rachaad White.
I've located where the Rachaad White panic button is on my desk. Among all the panic buttons I have for my players, I've got it over Rachaad White. I was like, oh, that's where it is. Okay, I might need that. And I think I need a top 10 performance next week to just kind of shelve that panic button.
Yeah.
Because I need something seriously great from him. Otherwise, I don't know if I can start him except for bye weeks and maybe certain matchup situations. But this is concerning. I will say Fluke one more time.
Yeah, so will I. Yeah, I agree. Zamir White, you, dude. Get off my team. That's it. I don't have to worry if this is Fluke or for real anymore. I'm not rostering you. There you go.
Suck my ass, dude.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
I dump your ass.
Yep.
Suck it, dude. Suck my ass. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver. 2 down weeks in a row. Disappointing. Just over 7 fantasy points in week 2. 3.7 fantasy points in week 3. I am 0% concerned. Lions game was weird. Broncos is Pat Surtain II, who has admittedly and acknowledgeably shut down wide receivers this year. It's one of those things. You hoped you could have gotten the end zone, but it didn't happen. So bummer. And then Jameson Williams, disappointing. He was my stud wide receiver for week 3. Yeah, 8 crow there. I'm not concerned, especially for next week. Yeah. The idea of potentially no Sam Laporta being there if he is dealing with this ankle sprain. Jameson should be the guy he has been for the first 2 weeks of the season. Now I get it. I get he's been extremely boom bust his career. Mm-hmm. But it's so clear that this offense has such a plan for him, and I'm not concerned.
I'm not concerned either. No, this is a great opportunity to buy low.
Cool. Yeah, this is a fluke. This is definitely a fluke. Next guy here, hot. Rashid Shaheed. Similar guy to Jameson Williams, which is funny that they're back to back here because it's that kind of player that's extremely boom bust, and maybe the clock struck midnight and
there you go.
The carriage turned into a pumpkin. And now this Saints offense is like, hey, we had our fun in the sun for 2 weeks. We suck again. I don't really know. I think Rashid Shaheed he's not like a drop candidate. No, absolutely not. But like he has throughout his career, he's been like the guy who's like, hey man, I'm gonna have you like 4 weeks this year where you're like, yeah, I got you 30 points, and this is what I do, and this is how I play. And then the rest of the weeks, he gets you like 7 fantasy points, and like at the most, and like that's it.
Right.
There's a chance, there's a non-0% chance that 2 of those games were just stacked at the front of the year. That it was like, hey,
it's possible.
That's just he's going to have a bunch of duds, but I'm going to say fluke on this. 0 catches. Like a donut, like 0 fantasy points. I'm going to say fluke. It's clear they have a plan for this guy to be involved. So that I'm going to say fluke. I'm going to say fluke on Rashid Shaheed.
I agree.
Awesome. All right. Past Rashid Shaheed on to, this is just kind of a grouping. Dolphins offense. Fins up. Love being a Dolphins fan. That's fun.
Best time of the year.
I didn't think it would be as bad for Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane as it was. I've got a lot of complicated feelings about how this game panned out, if I'm being honest. Yeah. It felt like Miami was running the football really well, and then they were like, nah, let's stop doing that. Let's let Skylar keep throwing the ball. And it's like, dude, like this was a blown coverage 75-yard touchdown play away from it being a 1-score game in the fourth quarter with no Tua.
Yeah.
Dude, kudos to the Dolphins defense. They really, beyond that kind of that first quarter, like for like 90% of that game, they really held Geno in check. And disappointing for sure. I'm willing to entertain selling Tyreek Hill. I'm willing to entertain it. Because I think the price is I think the value and I think the down game can get you still good return, like on the name value itself. Like I'm thinking about like, would I sell Tyreek Hill for like a back end RB2 and Devontae Smith? And like I think I might. I would entertain it. That's where I'm at. Like I wouldn't want to, but I would if I was in a rough spot and it was like, dude, like I don't know what else to do here. Like I would entertain the idea, but the likely scenario
is you're 0-3. If you're 0-3, I would entertain it as well. But otherwise, I'm going to push back because in week 7, Tua returns. As far as we know, that's what it seems to be
hope.
Right now.
Yeah,
that's what it appears. And if Tua doesn't return week 7, then his career might be done, and then we're in a lot of trouble all around. But
yeah,
we're gonna dive into that. But you get the point. Is essentially this is because Tua's not on the field, and there's a timeline when he's going to come back, and I'm going to hold out for Hill and Achane, but I'm not starting Waddle until Tua's back.
Yeah, no, me either. I think it's week 8, by the way. I think it has to be 4 games, not just 4 weeks. Unfortunately. Stupid
what?
NFLPA. Yeah,
games?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, week 8.
But still, it's Tyreek Hill, and I know he's not thrilled with the usage, and hopefully this coaching staff takes a shorter amount of time than they had to come up with a much better game plan than they had. Maybe not. I don't want to go this far.
Let's just
dude. Why are
move on,
dude? Okay, yeah. You're running the ball well. You get to the goal line with Tim Boyle on 3rd and 4th down, you're taking 2 plays to get into the end zone. What do you want to do? How about we throw the ball with Tim Boyle twice in a row? Get your head out of your anus, McDaniel. God. Anyway, keep rolling out Achane. Like it was a down game, but he's still play. You play him, and Tyreek Hill, you keep playing him as well. Last guys here. This Baltimore Ravens tight end room. Mark Andrews, donut, 0 points. Isaiah Likely, 1.4 fantasy points. Each 2 targets combined between these two guys. Remember when we spent 35 fab on Isaiah Likely, Wes, after week 1? That was awesome. Yeah. I don't hate myself at all. At all. Okay.
We're going crazy over here.
Dude, this is so like bananas frustrating because here's the thing. I'm still not willing to throw in the towel on Mark Andrews. And I know that sounds crazy. Yes, but before we started recording, I delayed us because I was counting something up. And I was going and I was looking at the play-by-play. I was looking at the play-by-play of this game. When the Ravens went up and scored their second touchdown of the game, 13 minutes into the game, with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter, the Baltimore Ravens had 14 pass plays from that point on for the rest of the game. 14 pass plays over the last 48 minutes of the game. They had 14 pass plays. That's it. That's all. That's all they did. They were not throwing the football. They were up 28-3 on the Dallas Cowboys, who have an insane secondary, and they had momentum running the ball. I'm not willing to give up on the man that Mark Andrews is and the guy that I know he can be and who he is for Lamar Jackson. Yes, he ran 6 routes in this game, a disgusting number. 6 routes. Their wide receiver 1, Zay Flowers, ran 16. That's it. 16. Devon Achane over the first 2 weeks of the season was running 30 routes a game. Devon Achane. Okay? I'm not throwing in the towel yet. Because here's the thing. I don't even think you can trade him for anything. So what are you going to do? And all tight ends suck ass. So what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to try and Hunter Henry it and then you're going to get 3 points? Or what? Like, it doesn't. It sucks, but like I don't think you can do anything about this. I think you just have to keep playing him.
Drop him.
For who?
For Mike Gesicki. Let me pull up some of these other tight ends. I mean, I'm going to pull it up real time. I mean, I know the name talent is crazy, but like Cole Kmet is available in a lot of leagues. Tyler Conklin had a great game on Thursday night. Noah Fant saw some good opportunities against Miami. He had 12 points. There are guys here. Jonnu Smith, maybe. Zach Ertz had a decent game against the Bengals on Monday night. There are tight ends that are actually scoring points.
Sure. But can you confidently, if you're looking at those two, say you roster Mark Andrews and you roster Mike Gesicki, and you're looking at it and you're going, I need 10 points. Can you confidently, based on all the knowledge that we have in fantasy football yes, I know we're 3 games into the season. It hasn't been great. Yeah. He scored 9 fantasy points for last week. And I know that's not his standard, but that's for this year of tight ends. That's awesome. But if you're looking at it, I'm going to play the guy that I've seen be the guy in this offense with Lamar Jackson. But I don't think
he's
solution.
That guy anymore. I don't think he's the guy.
I haven't seen enough lack of him being the guy to not being enough lack of him not being. I don't know what I'm saying. Enough of him not being the guy.
This is painful.
Yeah,
this is so
sucks.
sad.
This sucks.
It
sucks.
We have to ask. I mean, is Mark Andrews droppable?
I can't do it yet. I can't do it yet. Because just because there's no clear waiver ad that I feel more confident in rest of season than I do based off a poor 3 games. This sucks, dude.
This is a piss poor 3 games.
This sucks, dude.
I mean, he has scored combined 12 points in full PPR.
Yeah, this sucks.